All right, I haven't got time to mark this motherfucker. Here we go again. We can't hear anybody. Nobody can talk to anybody.
You guessed it, Pressure Points with your two favorite hosts. I'm D, and this is my sleepy thief, AJ. We're coming at you with Season 5, Episode 37, The Midwife of Auschwitz. AJ is going to be talking about the first birth in concentration camps in World War II. So we will find us on Instagram and Twitter at PointsOPressure.
Well, turn the fucking thing off, you dumbass.
You're surprisingly close.
I kind of figured.
Not quite there.
I doubt that I'm on, but I went for it. I took a guess.
That is not what we're talking about.
No, of course not.
But similarly, yeah, we may sound differently now.
Yeah,
maybe
we might.
We'll see.
So last week, AJ and I recorded our episode normally, as we always do.
Read the description.
Yeah,
please.
Go to Twitter and find my tweet about it.
Oh yeah, you tweeted. I have not read that tweet yet.
We recorded the 48-minute episode. Yeah, I remember how long it was because we both had to set timers. We recorded the 48-minute long episode, and at the end, after everything was recorded, after it was all done, AJ ran his editing software, and he hit save as. And it just loaded, and then it stopped loading. We couldn't get a prompt to actually save anything.
To save or export.
No
Nothing
shit.
Would show
we
up.
sat here
tried
for
everything.
An hour trying to figure out what to do. We copied it to another fucking screen. It was a lot. So we came up with the idea of unplugging the input from, or what was it? We plugged in the output.
No,
the fucking headphone jack from our interface into my laptop, which we then hit record and we hit play on the Mac.
Now I'm really confused. How did we do that?
It's because we used the Mac as the output.
Yeah, but
and it played
the audio mixer. Oh yeah. God,
so
did we record it from that?
Yeah, we used this and we plugged it into my laptop and fucking played it through. It was crazy.
So
shit.
we record on XLR cables. These are real microphones. Essentially, microphone cables, if you don't know about that stuff. And we have one that does like a 3.5 millimeter jack to XLR to plug in
for the
iPad for the intro music and all of the sound effects that you're so accustomed to hearing on this. We actually that's my favorite one. So we used that to then we plugged that into the headphone port
of my laptop.
Of this.
Of that, yeah, that's right.
Of the main recording computer.
Yeah.
Then
as the input.
Export that.
And then we plugged in the headphone jack from this into mine.
It was a mess.
But
it worked. We basically re-recorded the output from one computer to the input to another computer.
It was bad.
And then we had to come back down.
We had to set timers because the entire episode had to play all the way through to re-record it onto a separate device, which I then had to upload onto Google Drive so that you could... Or no, I uploaded the episode. It was a mess. Fucking bad.
So we're done using
time.
Free shitty software.
And as soon as we figured out how to make it work, we looked at each other and we're like, we're done fucking using Audacity.
Because
we're using Patreon money for a better audio software.
And turns out I get the entire Adobe suite really, really, really cheap because I got the student discount and it didn't work, so I had to call customer service and they just gave it to me for $15 a month. I get the whole suite forever.
Hey,
so we didn't actually have to take my
So if you want access and you've got a student email, there's your hack.
I didn't even they didn't even verify my email.
Oh, really?
They just kept my old original one. I was like,
nice,
fuck, yeah.
Not bad.
So it didn't end up costing us anything yet.
Yeah, yet.
Once that discount comes up, yeah.
Yeah. What a fucking mess.
It's a mess. And then we just sat here for
another
an hour
and a half. We came here at 10.
Just trying to figure out how to get it to work and pick up the channels.
It's been a day, and AJ's been up since it's now 11:30 p.m.
I woke up at 8:30 this morning, which is really early for me.
So this is a long day.
It's a long day, and I wanted to play RimWorld tonight. I doubt I'm going to be able to.
bitch ass.
I'm gonna.
Hey, if you don't know what RimWorld is, look it up and buy all of the expansions for it. It's fucking
so
incredible. And then message us so that we can talk to you about your colony.
Yeah.
Because we're fucking addicted to it, and we're
so good. The new update is really good.
It is. I haven't gotten far enough in it yet. But here we are.
All right.
So we're back.
We're here, and this has different editing shit, so hopefully we sound better. We'll see.
And if we don't, eventually we'll sound better.
Yeah, eventually I'll learn how to use it.
All right. So
we're here.
Yeah, we're back.
We're
Do you
ready
want
to
to talk about how today went? Or do you just want to jump right in?
It was a long day.
Yeah.
I went out with my sister and her man, and we explored a bunch of cool shit in you know, Cold War military base type stuff.
Places you and I have gone that we've talked about before. It's cool shit.
Super fun.
It's fucking awesome. I'm glad you took them out there.
So, you know, you don't want to take stuff from these or like vandalize.
I don't know what you're talking about.
This shit. I mean, I would never vandalize something like
No,
this. Like
God,
that is fucking ridiculous. But there was a really cool sign tucked up, like in the rafters of one of these buildings, way off the beaten path. Mm-hmm. And fuck the military-industrial complex, so they can spare a sign. So I tried to get it down, and I think it was fucking welded to the beam. So basically, it was two chains from an I-beam down, and then a metal sign, and it said something cool about how all
lives matter or
yeah,
something.
No. Yeah, exactly.
All maintenance matters.
It was like all
Fuck
maintenance like workers have to be accompanied by a military engineer, authorized access only.
Oh, that's
a really cool sign.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's also, I'm short, but it was like 10 feet in the air.
So it was
super,
4 feet up.
Yeah.
Really...
I am 13 inches tall. I am a dildo. Yeah. I am as tall as a dildo.
Yes, he is.
I have to turn down the, I do a really good high pass filter, so it just really makes my voice sound lower.
We need to baste you in olive oil again. Just no reason.
Oh, yeah.
No reason. Yeah.
So we tried to get the sign down with a pipe because there was a really long, heavy pipe. And we got, like, one of the chains just basically fell off. But it fell off, like, we hit it just to see if we could pop a chain off or if it was, like, hooked on or something.
Like one pop.
And it swings around like an aluminum razor blade.
Oh, God.
So fast. It was, like, whipping around the room.
Jesus.
And we were like, well, we made it this far. So we tried to get the second side. It, like, held a much taller, stronger man's weight.
Holy shit.
Like, it held his weight.
Yeah, and he's a big dude.
Yeah. He got a new job moving stuff, and he is tough. He's strong. So
hell yeah.
And we could not get the sign down. It's still up.
Jesus Christ.
So long story for
Next
nothing.
Next time when you take your parents out there.
Yeah. I'm going to bring a ladder.
Jesus, and some fucking metal clippers.
Yeah, some tin snips or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
shit.
it's a cool sign because, you know, everything, it's from the 60s, so everything's like teal. There's gold spatter. Do you remember the main bunker? And it had those like server racks, really like 60s server racks in them. Uh-huh. And then there was kind of that room that had the ceiling collapsed in that we didn't go into.
With all the glass on the floor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Went into that room. It wasn't as full. I don't know if somebody pulled shit out or something. Maybe. But I walked in and the paint in there was gold or was brown with gold like sparkles in it.
What the fuck?
It was really cool. But
you're just taking paint chips and it's like real gold.
Yeah, it's actual gold leaf.
The U.S. military budget is like, where the fuck are we going to spend all this money? And somebody's like, just put gold in the paint. Who gives a fuck?
Who gives a shit? They are not going to lower our budget next quarter.
God.
So it was fun, but I'm so fucking tired.
Yeah, dude.
So let's get through this.
Yeah.
There's going to be a 10-minute episode. Huh. Starting, I'm trying to figure out where to look to see how long we've been going for now.
I know, I have no idea. 10 minutes, 7 minutes.
9:35 there, but then over there it says duration 9:43.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, every time it gets to that's a file duration.
I don't know.
So it updates every 10 seconds as we continue. Okay.
I can't see any of it, so.
Yeah, sorry. That's really boring to describe in the middle of an audio podcast. So we're going to talk about The Midwife of Auschwitz, because it's a great title. It's succinct, but it doesn't give anything away. And, I like talking about World War II. And I try... Yeah. So let me tell you something I despise, though.
What?
The invention of the listicle. Do you know what a listicle is? You know BuzzFeed, how it's like, top 10 reasons why you are Hermione Granger. That's a listicle. Yeah. Like,
top 10?
Top 10 weirdest facts.
Top 10 badass anime moments.
Yeah, shit like that. Yeah. I think that is the lowest form of journalism that isn't just blatant propaganda. Yeah. And a lot of times it is blatant propaganda. So I didn't use one of those.
Would you say, I don't know, 15 interesting and unusual deaths in a 45-minute episode? It's kind of a lazy tactic.
No, because it's a podcast. We're not journalists, and we don't say we are.
That's fair.
Shut up! Don't ask questions. So I totally didn't find this on a list of 21 weird World War II facts.
Hey, that's okay, because that's how I find all my shit.
Well, I actually took a page out of Dee's book here for this one.
You did all of your notes off of Wikipedia?
No. Topic-wise, I wanted to find a... you hear so many stories about just what dudes were doing in the war because, it was predominantly men.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Are you doing
I found a heroine story.
You've done it.
And I mean that, like, female hero, not drugs.
You guys can't see it, but AJ is floating. He's being lifted into the heavens. So in May 8th, on May 8th, 1896, fuck, I didn't look up how to pronounce his name before like I was gonna. I wrote these notes yesterday, which is weird. So Stanislawa was born. That's her first name. Stanislawa?
Last name is Leszczynska.
Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
That sounds great, right? You just
it sounds like you fucking
in there.
deep-throated a bag of marbles, so it sounds like German.
She's not German.
Oh.
She was born in Lodz. It looks like Loads.
Lowe's. But she was born in Lowe's.
No, she was born in Lodz in a place called Vistula Land, which sounds like Fistula Land, but it's not. It's Vistula Land.
Okay.
And we actually talked about this on my last episode.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
It's Russian-controlled Poland. It's a region in Russian-controlled Poland.
Yeah.
So she's raised Polish Catholic under a Tsarist rule. Okay. The Russian...
Yeah, Russian Tsars.
Yeah, exactly. So wasn't Jewish because she was... So she's kind of Russian, but she's Polish. Okay. That's kind of the thing. Yeah. And her dad's name was Jan. Oh. And her mom's name was Henrika, which are pretty good names, I think. Jan was basically drafted immediately, like after she was born. Like once she starts being able to form memories, he gets drafted and sent to Turkestan. I love old country names.
Really though.
Like, that's so cool. Turkestan.
All of like Eastern Europe is such a funny ass time. For names back in like the early 1900s. Yeah.
And he, drafted off to war. He comes back in 1908. Through this time period, she was actually sent to a private school, which her mom had to work 12-hour shifts in a factory to afford because the provider at the time was at war. So that kind of sucked for Henrika, but
not for Stanislav.
Stanislawa. Stanislaw would be a male name. Stanislawa. Yeah, Stanislawa. And this allowed her to get, at the time, a pretty good education that was kind of delayed. So because Jan came back in 1908, they actually moved to Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, okay.
In Brazil. I said that so dumb.
Rio de
Janeiros. And... they moved there. They lived there for 2 years. She kind of goes to school. I don't really know why they go there. I think they was pursuing work. They moved back to Lodz, and Stanislawa graduates high school in 1914. What else happened in 1914?
Only good things.
Jan gets drafted again into World War I.
Guy can't catch a fucking break.
Yeah. 2 years later, Stanislawa gets married to a painter named Bronislaw.
That confused me for a sec because I was like, I thought you were saying her mom got remarried. I was like, did he die in the war?
Stanislawa.
I got lost there for a sec.
The names, especially once you see what her kids' names are named, it's going to get real confusing. But
these are like the Brecklins of Russia.
Of Polish Russia. And so he's a painter, and his last name is is the one I mentioned before.
We'll give it another
at
shot
the beginning.
real quick.
Let me scroll up in my notes. Lachskenska. Something like that. And they get married. They have a pretty good life considering it's the middle of World War I, but they're pretty unaffected by it besides her father being drafted.
And they named their kid John.
Yeah, no, so they pretty quickly had a son and a daughter. A son named Bronislaw, named after the dad, and a daughter named Slimia. Slymia? Slimia. Slymia. Slymia. Slymia.
Okay.
And they were like, okay, it's about 1920.
Yeah.
So within the 4 years, they had the two kids, and they relocate to Warsaw. Warsaw in 1920 is great. Warsaw in 1930 is not great. But she pretty much immediately enrolls in Midwife College, graduates in 1922. She gets all sorts of awards and shit, like alumni. She did really good.
Good for her.
She knew her shit, and they moved back to Lodz.
And then she had a son, and that's who this whole episode is about.
Yeah, and she actually had two more sons, named Stanislaw.
What?
And Henrik.
Oh, my God.
So they just dropped the A, which is probably a common thing.
They were like, the first two were some wild names. Now we're just going to go back.
Yeah, it's my
easy.
name and my mother's name, but without the A at the end. And Stanislaw is actually the first name of my favorite artist of all time, my favorite painter. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Isn't it Bekinski?
Bekskini, something like that.
Oh.
So she starts working, living a pretty normal life in Warsaw. And then, Poland is invaded by the Nazis.
Fucking 1930 hits.
Yeah. It is not great because their house is smack dab in the middle of what became the Lodz ghetto, which was the second largest ghetto in Europe ever.
Grand.
So they basically get kicked out. They're like, well, you can stay here, but it's not going to be good. Or you can move. So they move, and they're like, these bastards, my lease wasn't even up yet. These motherfuckers. Let me see that. Okay, perfect. They get really pissed, and the entire family, I imagine in the ashes, they put a
do
mask,
the lines under their eyes.
under their eyes.
The two fucking lines.
Because they start smuggling food in to the ghetto, a lot of food. They would help deliver forged documents and passports to get people out of the ghetto. Yeah. And basically the entire family, anybody who was old enough to help, which at this point was just about everybody, just starts doing everything they can to help the Jews.
Fuck yeah.
They're badass. She's working at, delivering babies by day and by night. She's meeting up with a Polish...
You took 2 pages out of my book.
Yeah, right?
You did a woman that's saving Jews. Good for you.
Right? And some bottles clanked. That won't pick up at all.
That's why you're tired.
I'm a lush. I should have drank.
He's been drunk since 8:30 a.m.
I've had coffee and 2 energy drinks today. So I'm tired, but my heart's beating fast. I'm a little jittery. And they're working with the Polish resistance. They're working with everybody that you would expect during this time period to get away with this. While also, avoiding the ire of the Soviets who were in the other half of the country.
Grand.
Because at that time, the Soviets and the Nazis were teamed up.
Poland was just in such a shitty place.
Oh, my God. It really was. This is a rough place and a rough time for everybody. And they did everything they could to save as many people as they could. And, to the point where they were putting themselves at so much risk, they actually got caught.
Uh-oh.
By the Gestapo.
Oh, fuck.
On February 18th, 1943. So they did it for a long time.
Yeah, holy shit.
They helped people forever. Like, they did a lot. They were very impactful from... I mean, obviously nobody kept records of this, but just basically with how long they did it, how much was reported that they did a lot. Gestapo caught them. Normally the Gestapo is just like, bang, you're dead.
Yeah.
At this point.
Get fucked.
So Stanislawa gets caught red-handed.
Oh.
Like, in the action. Along with her daughter and 2 of the sons.
Okay.
They get scooped up, taken to the Gestapo. Her husband and her eldest son get tipped off that they're caught, and they flee, which was the plan. It was, if you get caught,
if somebody's
whoever else,
caught,
go
get the fuck out
and do whatever you can somewhere else.
Yeah, scatter.
That was basically the family plan. You know, you always have a family emergency plan.
It makes sense. It's the fire escape plan.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I don't know why I laughed. This isn't funny.
The gas chamber escape plan, you know?
Yeah. So the husband and the eldest son flee. They go wherever. Later on in the war, like 2 or 3 years later, I think, her husband... No, not 2 or 3 years later. Jesus Christ.
They have a family reunion in Auschwitz.
Yeah, no, pretty soon after, her husband actually dies during the Warsaw Uprising. He was assisting the Jews in getting supplies and weapons.
Damn.
In the Warsaw Uprising, which...
He died doing
Read
what
about
he
that.
loved.
That's a fucking cool event. Like, there's a lot of media portrayal that... I mean, we talk about this every time we talk about the Holocaust, is that people just pushed over and took it. Mm-hmm. This is one of the larger events where, no, they were like getting guns and fighting back, like badass shit.
We'll have to talk about it on one of these episodes.
We should. We'll just talk about every uprising.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
There's a list somewhere, I'm sure. So the 2 sons that were caught were shipped off to work in some stone quarries at the Mauthausen-Gusen concentration camp. And they basically hard labor, but they're not Jewish. So the likelihood of them surviving goes up exponentially just getting into the camp. Stanislawa and, was that an M or a W? Slimia.
Oh, yeah,
Slywia. My handwriting is atrocious.
Is it Slivia?
Maybe, I don't know. They get sent to Auschwitz.
Okay.
They are, they get off the train, they're stripped down, and Stanislawa, being the badass, basically keeps her certification card that she is a certified midwife hidden in her hand.
Oh.
Which is enough to just get you shot right then.
Yeah.
She's, being marched up to the table where you're judged, and she touches a doctor, one of the German doctors, like on his shoulder, which is also enough to get you murdered on the spot. But before the doctor can be like, hey, kill this bitch, she shows him the card. Oh, and the doctor sits back and says, how
come
we'll keep you.
Yeah.
And your daughter. Her daughter was in medical school before the war started.
Damn.
Which is pretty badass itself, that a woman in Russian-controlled Poland becomes, or, in that whole background in Poland, is in medical school. That itself is cool. So they basically, that saves their lives. And they get shipped off.
What a fucking sly move, too.
Oh, yeah.
You just, keep that shit hidden. Yeah. And then just to the right fucking person. She knew exactly what she was doing.
She is...
Just, hey.
Something. She's something else.
That's what I got, bro.
So her and her daughter get sent off to the women's infirmary. Nice. Where they get to they get to work in the labor ward.
Okay.
Which is about 30 beds closest to the stove in the infirmary. So they also have typhus patients. Pretty much anybody who's sick also is in there, which is great for, babies and women giving birth.
Fantastic, yeah.
In, horrible conditions. They are introduced to a little-known German scientist called Dr. Joseph Mengele.
Oh, shit.
They meet Mengele.
What?
Because he's the doctor,
Yeah. Is that the doctor that she put her hand on?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like...
No, he would have shot her. Mengele was vicious.
I was like, what the fuck?
No, they're introduced to Mengele, and... Oh, I was like, what the fuck? There's my note right there.
You're like, in Mengele, save them. You're like, oh, wait, no, that's wrong. That's wrong.
So Mengele basically says to her, okay, you're going to write reports on births, on birth problems, on diseases that occur during birth or to babies and shit like that. And then you have to kill the baby. Every time. Every single one has to die. And she says no to Mengele.
What?
She says no. And he's basically saying, in German it sounds cooler, but it's, an order is an order. And all she said later on, there was a... portrayed by... her kid was interviewed later for something that she said about meeting Mengele. And it was that all she could do is look at the ground and see his boots dance back and forth as he's shouting, an order is an order, an order is an order, you will kill those babies.
Jesus.
And she just didn't even listen to him.
She's like, whatever.
Which, again, enough to get her killed. I don't know how she survived this long, like almost 10 years smuggling shit to people in ghettos.
She had a fucking presence. That's the thing.
Just wait. And so... she starts doing her job. She assists with births. No antiseptics, no dressings, no medications.
Man.
Literally like Neanderthal-style birthing in a shack that the dying people and the babies were both the targets of the mice, of the rats.
Jesus.
Like she wrote about it later, that the mice were so terrible that they would try to eat the babies.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me.
They would try to eat the women. Like,
God damn.
Terrible. Like, these are obviously atrocious conditions. And, yeah, these women giving birth were just sitting in beds next to women with typhoid fever or, just starving to death.
Jesus.
Where a cold will kill you. And she's basically given, well, here's a cup of water to wash the babies, all of them. So
oh my God.
She would go healthy baby to baby who was maybe not going to make it, to just try to keep the water as clean as possible.
Yeah.
And she was very, very well versed in nursing, not just midwifery, which is really cool. She would also help hide women who were typhus patients, because typhus patients, as we've talked about before, I think we talked about it before, the Germans were terrified of typhus.
Yeah.
So she would hide them and document it as a flu. Because if you put down typhus, even if
they were straight to the chamber. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Straight up, you're dead. So she would hide people as much as she could.
She was weaponizing typhus against the Auschwitz guards.
Pretty much. They called it liquidation.
She's making typhoid fucking weaponized babies.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Later on, I'll tell that in a second. So a lot of the new mothers had to trade what little food they would get for scraps of cloth for diapers. Not even knowing whether their kid was going to survive. Not even knowing whether their body was going to be able to produce milk.
God damn.
Also trying to hide the babies as much as they could from the guards, because there were some interesting policies at this camp. As I said, she was expected to kill every baby.
Yeah.
And I kind of put these a little out of order, but that's okay. It'll work. She gets interviewed by some of the German doctors who say, okay, what's your success rate? Like, let's look through your reports and shit like this that's keeping you alive. And she had a 100% success rate
Holy shit.
of live births.
Oh
She didn't have
God.
any stillborns, which the Nazi scientists were pissed because the best, university hospitals couldn't match her rate.
Yeah.
And she's just some, Polish Catholic bitch.
Yeah.
And Mengele wasn't super happy about that.
She's not a Nazi genius.
She ended up
I feel you.
assisting in 3,000 births. In
Damn.
her time in Auschwitz.
At a 100% success rate?
I mean, yeah, live births at least.
Yeah.
Anything past that,
I see
not
what
super
you're saying.
successful. Because when she showed up, and before she showed up, the standard procedure, it gets a little dark. The standard procedure was basically, after a birth, the Schwester Clara and Schwester Fanny, who were kind of the midwives before she shows up, a Schwester is sister, they would take the baby to a room that was attached to the room where they just gave birth and drown them in a barrel.
Oh.
Just with the mother right there hearing it.
Jesus.
They would just dunk them. Fantastic,
Fuck.
right? Clara was... Technically, she was a midwife before the war, but she had lost her license because she had killed off a bunch of infants that she had helped give birth. And she got caught, and they revoked her license.
Damn.
Perfect role, right?
Yeah, perfect.
She's made for this.
Perfect.
And then
Nazi
Fanny was a
midwife.
sex worker who was arrested before the war. So, so there's like, okay,
Like, huh?
here's your job. You get out of prison, here's labor.
Jesus.
And they weren't technically like prisoners like Stanislawa, so they had way better conditions and shit. As long as they kept drowning those babies.
Jesus. It's like constituency to keep your nice fucking concentration camp room.
Yeah, a really nice one.
Your cushy concentration camp job.
Ugh. So a couple months after Stanislawa gets there in 1943, the rules change about every baby getting drowned in a barrel. Aryan-looking children were to be Germanized, which means they are taken away, placed either in an orphanage or with a German family, and basically raised as a German, without knowing anything about their actual parents, to denationalize them.
Jesus.
Fantastic, you know? You got to make up for the lost manpower that you're, being killed off in the war. So another badass thing that Stanislawa would do, especially, once this started, is that she would secretly tattoo certain babies. If the baby came out with blonde hair and blue eyes, she would, like, poke and stick a secret tattoo on them and then show the mother.
Oh, okay.
So that she's like, if we make it out of here,
get out,
maybe you can find this kid.
Yeah.
And she had to hide them from the guards because the guards would inspect each kid.
Yeah.
And she would do that as much as she could. Of the 3,000, 2,500, I wrote died / were killed, starved to death, couldn't make it, got sick, drowned in a barrel, whatever it was. 470 were sent away to be Germanized. 30 ended up surviving in the camp.
Wow.
Which is itself
fucking
quite a feat. And yeah, despite completely basically shitting on Mengele to his face, he never harmed her. He even called her kind of her camp nickname, which was Mother, which was kind of it was a respectful thing.
Mengele called her Mommy.
Mommy. No.
Mama.
It was like, yeah, which was really interesting. I think it probably had to do with the fact that she wasn't Jewish.
Yeah.
And that maybe
that was 95%.
That was 95% of it. And then maybe the other 5% was either a respect of her work, like because she was extremely effective.
Yeah, I wonder
even
if
in the deplorable conditions.
A lot of it was how
and he was getting
effective
data
she was
from her as
and
well.
how confident she was too. Because he's screaming at her orders, and she just stands there and she's like,
sure, okay,
yeah.
Just
so I'm
at
sure
shoes.
a lot of it, like, as powerful as a person you can be, if somebody's going to stand up to you and you're not used to it, especially at this point during the war, like, it's going to catch his ass off guard when someone's like, yeah, okay, what are you going to do? Fucking kill me like the rest of the people here? Like, whatever.
And it was very easy. You could just kill a Jewish person, no problem, in these camps. If you weren't Jewish or one of the, groups that they were targeting, the Romanis, homosexuals, just anybody who was different. Like, she was there because she was caught assisting Jewish people. I don't know if that story made it to the camp, why they were sent there.
That's a good point.
Like, here's this Polish Catholic woman who is extremely effective in childbirth, which he needs for test subjects.
It's true.
And he's getting data from. Like, I think he was getting something. He was getting the data, he was getting information from her that he wouldn't have gotten with somebody who didn't care.
Yeah.
With somebody who wasn't good at it. With Clara and Fanny. Like, he wasn't getting jack shit from them. Except for head.
Fuck.
And, so it was really interesting. There's one story that I found from a woman who survived the camp and whose kids survived, one of those 30.
Uh-huh.
Because despite the fact that the mother was so malnourished.
And these are kids that survived in the camp. Like,
yeah.
She kept them
As
alive
babies.
and they were still Jewish babies that grew up in Auschwitz.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. She couldn't lactate. She couldn't produce milk at all. Somehow, Stanislawa found 2 women who wet nursed the baby
Jesus.
to keep them alive. She still has no idea. Like, she never figured out what she traded or how she convinced them to do that, because that's literally taking the calories that you're eating out of your body.
Yeah,
like
as if they ever had any to fucking start with.
They had enough to just produce milk. Like,
wow.
Barely. So, because it took both of them to keep this kid alive.
Jesus.
And, like, god damn. Either she's really convincing, or she was sneaking shit from Mengele, like stealing shit or something. Who knows? Like,
either or.
She was already a very
job.
Accomplished smuggler from her previous work.
This is true,
like,
yeah.
Who knows? Like, nobody knows, but it was just a really cool story. And yeah, they would just call her Mother, which I found really interesting, because the other 2 were sister. Before she came around. And she was a badass. She made it through the war.
Jesus.
Her daughter made it through the war assisting her. Like, she didn't do this all alone. Her daughter was definitely helping her.
Yeah.
And, the camp was liberated January 26, 1945. She and her daughter go back to Lodz and basically wait to see if anybody else comes back.
Yeah.
Everybody but her husband came back. Every single kid made it.
Holy shit.
They were badass. I'm telling you, this family, they were fucking badasses. And you know what she did? As soon as the war was over, she's back home.
She
Most
starts
of her family's
fucking
there.
looking for the kids with the tattoos.
She starts midwife work.
Oh, good for her.
Like, all the records from the Germanizing program were basically destroyed.
Yeah.
And there were many people who spent a long time trying to find other people, those kids.
Yeah.
Just from what she had told them. And a couple years later, actually, in a couple years, like 30 years, 25 years later or something, January, no, that's a June. I put Jan or June. It's a June, I think. 27th, in 1970, there was an event in Warsaw for Auschwitz survivors.
Uh-huh.
And she shows up, and she's just surrounded by the women that she helped. Basically, all those 30 kids were there.
Oh,
in their
shit.
30s.
Yeah.
Like,
that are like,
and
we
she's
fucking
like,
made it.
Holy shit. Like, she gets to see, what she had impacted. And so many women were there. So many of their kids were there because of her work, because of what she did, because of defying Mengele to his face. And, defying Nazi Germany entirely.
At one of the worst fucking
One
camps.
of the worst death camps that there were. Like, this is some crazy shit.
Some big fucking balls.
Yeah, huge testicles.
Some massive, massive uterus linings.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Those are some huge ovum.
Yeah. Just a bad, bad bitch.
Bad
That's for
bitch
sure.
with a big old batch of eggs up there.
Just a
I
fucking
like how much we know anatomy.
huge vagina, dude. She's killing that shit. I don't know, but she would fucking props to her.
Oh, yeah. No, it was badass. And I'm glad that she was able to see, the kids who she assisted into life, and literally the worst start someone could have. Like, if you're playing video games, this is hard mode, worst site randomized. Like,
holy shit.
This is literally, you are set up for the largest amount of failure
You're starting
in the 20th century.
You're starting literally like in a guillotine.
Yeah.
No joke.
Like, this is some crazy shit. And she would help the mothers find food, like, for themselves, because they would trade, or diapers, cloth for diapers and shit like that. Just everything that she could. And 4 years after that, she passed away. And she wrote a book about it.
In that 4 years, just before she died?
I don't know when she wrote it.
After she died.
She wrote it after she died. Yeah. And I found some awesome quotes from her kids later on after she had passed away. And, you know, at this point, I think they were in their 50s.
They're like, she was such a fucking bitch.
Yeah. No, she was like...
They're like, she was so mean.
She was the driving force for, you know, rebelling, for fighting back, for pushing back. She never stopped pushing back at any point.
Hell yeah.
She was always working something, always scheming with something. And she's actually in candidacy for sainthood right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine that, the patron saint of birth. I don't know, another one of those, but
Damn, dude.
She's badass.
Top 5 people in candidacy for sainthood. Is that the article you found?
No, yeah. Oh my God, how did you know? That's how I found it. Which saint are you? Yeah. And I just chose all the ones that had pictures of women.
Which prospective woman saint are you?
And it shows all the pictures that were World War II and women and boobies.
A BuzzFeed article.
Ugh.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
So did anybody manage to find their kids that she had tattooed?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. I like to think that at least 1 or 2 people found it.
Yeah, like, it was publicized.
The odds are so not in your favor,
but you know, if you have a weird looking tattoo and you look it up, they didn't really have the internet, so you'd have to see it in like a newspaper.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it got out there.
Maybe. But there's no way for us to know.
With 500 kids, though.
500 kids.
Well, 450.
Well, 450 kids, and you knew they were in Germany. Yeah. You could feasibly run newspaper ads with, hey, do you have this tattoo under your left cheek?
Yeah.
Call me.
I don't know. I can't see that.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah, it's tough.
I
would like to think
I
that
would like
couple...
to think that she was able to at least reunite some people afterwards. Because, you know, this is the difference of 3 years, and then the camp is liberated, and then a year or 2 of trying to figure out life. Like, these kids are still pretty small. Like, you would know roughly their age. You would know their hair color. You would know their eye color.
Yeah.
You would know a couple things about them, I guess. So I'd like to think that she did contribute to people finding their actual birth mothers.
Maybe.
I hope so.
That's cool. I like it.
Now, the real question is, how were these women getting pregnant in Auschwitz?
I fucking wonder.
They were actually mostly pregnant before they came in and didn't know it, or hid it purposely from the doctors.
That's fair. I don't blame them.
Yeah, that was most of them.
Yeah. Man, good old fucking German guards.
No, they were considered, the prisoners were considered human garbage. That would be below them.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay, that's what they tried to say during the Nuremberg trials.
Interesting that 2 parents with dark hair and brown eyes
had
suddenly
a blonde-haired,
have a fucking
blue-eyed kid,
Aryan-looking kid.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, not too shabby. Like, you know, hopefully a good test for the software. It's still recording.
Fingers crossed this works out, and if it doesn't, then fuck.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
well. Oh shit. I was gonna say this at the start. Sunday the 30th. We will be live streaming. Not Saturday.
Not Saturday. I'm sorry. I had a clinical. I didn't know.
I'll actually post about this one.
You better.
We'll be doing a little Halloween live stream. We'll have some guests in here. We'll be having some drinks. We'll be looking at chat.
Yeah. Maybe telling some spooky stories.
Just taking it easy, yeah. So tune in and keep an eye out. You got Patreon?
No.
Okay.
But I will. And if you're on Patreon, we'll post a reminder, like maybe the day before if D remembers. Because I'll be gone. I'll be at a clinical.
Oh, yeah.
And then like the day of, we'll put a link on there. Yeah. We'll probably put links everywhere, but best way is if you find our YouTube, you don't have to like watch the shows. Like, we don't put anything on there besides this live stream once a year, and then almost every episode goes up. Every once in a while it misses one for some reason, but
follow on there.
So just subscribe. It would be cool because if you subscribe, you'll know if we're going live.
Yes,
like that's really the big thing. Like, you don't have to watch our shit on there. Yeah. Listen on your favorite app.
Mm-hmm.
And listen with your Sennheisers.
Yeah.
Or
if you don't have them, listen to fucking whatever.
Stuff. Well, yeah.
As long as you're here, that's all that matters.
Sorry, I'm rambling. I'm so fucking tired.
I can tell. That's why I'm like, let's wrap it up. Let's get you to bed.
It is past midnight.
Let's
all right.
get you to bed.
So patreon.com/pointsopressure. You get the bonus episodes, which is coming out next week.
Yep. Probably the same day as the live stream.
It might be our warm-up for the live stream. You get all the other stuff. We have a lot of stuff. You've heard us say it 1.5 million times. Just pulled a hair out of my pocket. So, of course, we've got the board. They make all the decisions around here, how we allocate funds, what political parties we're allowed to support outwardly.
The episode titles.
Episode titles and art are all done by these people.
They actually manage what I can call AJ at the start of each episode. So that's on them, not me.
They are the beneficiaries of our trust
Yep.
and life insurance policies. The board. Mini D, Nordic Thunder, and Total Waddle.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Nordic Thunder, you got that mug. I'm glad you like it.
Oh, yeah, Mini D got his shirt.
Awesome. So merch is being sent out, so that's good.
Yep.
And then, of course, Abby, AJ's Third Nut, Haley, Thomas, Dark Runner, D's Nuts, and Lara Revo. Thank you guys so much for supporting us and letting us...
Appreciate you.
God, I was talking away from the microphone during that. That's okay. We really
support...
it
was getting picked up. You're
It looks like it. We'll see. But yeah, we really support you. We really thank you for supporting us. God, get me out of this room.
Fucking day for you. Yeah, thank you guys. We appreciate it. And as always, if you ever have any show suggestions, TV, music, movies, articles, books, whatever the fuck, suggest it. Send it to us.
Fan art.
On Instagram and Twitter @PointSoPressure. And we will catch you guys on the live stream next Sunday. This coming Sunday.
The 30th.
The 30th.